Hey everybody, welcome back to another Blast from the Past unboxing and review, G.I.Joe Classified Edition. And today we're going to be taking a look at the Python Patrol Cobra B.A.T. This one I've got in the package, as you can see, because I don't really have the space, the available space to display all various color paints and whatnot. Like, even though I troop build by the twos in most cases, you know, some I've got more than two, but for the most part I get two at a time. I get them in pairs for the troops, and I don't really have space to display them all, so I box up the extras and just keep out one. And in the B.A.T case, as this is a repaint of the original B.A.T, I decided just to showcase the original B.A.T. Although I do have an Arctic B.A.T out as well, because I just think that it looks so cool. But the Crimson B.A.T and the Python Patrol B.A.T I've got packed up at the moment. But eventually, once we clear some more room out of either this house or move into another house, I'll have a dedicated room for display, and then I can put the whole collection out, not just the individual figures of each type. But, so we're going to look at the Python Patrol B.A.T today. Basically identical to the original. I think the only thing that's missing from the Python Patrol offering are the damaged head and the damaged chest plate. Otherwise, I think it's exactly the same accessories, just different paint apps, obviously, and of course different artwork on the front. I think it's different artwork. It might be the same, just painted differently. I'll have to check on that. Luckily I've got things prepared for the most part. No, it is the same. It's the same artwork. The only difference is the original B.A.T had the damaged head on the artwork here, and there's no damaged head with the Python Patrol, so they just gave it the intact head version, but the pose is identical, as well as the background between the Python Patrol and standard B.A.T. Okay, so let's take a look at the box. G.I.Joe Classified Series, Python Patrol, Hasbro. There's the picture we were just discussing. Number 41 in the line. There's the file card info, 41. And more artwork on the side here. And on the bottom we've got legalese. And on the back we have that jungle diorama. Well, it's more like artwork than diorama. I don't think this is an actual diorama or anything, but you got images there. You got a hut right there. You got stairs leading up the waterfall, the mountain. We got like a little guard tower right in there. Lots of trees, more water and all that stuff. In the comics, the Hammer comics, Python Patrol was designed as a way for Cobra to sneak troops and vehicles past radar. That was the whole concept behind the Python Patrol, the Pythonization, as they call it. It was an anti-radar screen, like a stealth. These were basically a stealth squad of troops and vehicles. But in Classified, they seem more like they're a jungle unit designed to counter Tiger Force for G.I.Joe, or Tiger Force was designed to counter Python Patrol. Either way, they seem pitted against each other in the Classified series, which isn't really how it went in the comics. So let's see here. Oh, and of course you can see that nice Python Patrol logo on the backdrop. Hit the camera. I kind of miss these plastic trays, even though they've gone back to the plastic trays now. These seem less sturdy than the ones they're using now. The ones they're using now makes it really difficult to pop all the accessories out. I always feel like I'm going to break something when I'm trying to take accessories out of the current plastic packaging. The current plastic trays, everything just feels like tighter, like the tray itself feels harder, made out of a harder plastic or something like that. I don't know. Oh, he did a header. Okay, so here's the Python Bat, as you can plainly see. And as I've mentioned before, it's a faithful reproduction of the original bat, just in a different color. Everything's exactly the same. The same designs on the arms, the back, the head, the chest, the legs, boots, gloves. It still has this one overlay, which is the belt attached to the leg holster. This is also an overlay, but it's kind of glued down, so although this kind of feels loose, but it's tight there, so it's glued. Can't take that one off. The rest of it is sculpted in. It looks like these grenades are glued on, but the strap they're glued onto is sculpted. So yeah, decent paint. I like the way they designed they painted. I like the way they painted the Python Bat. I think the colors make it look really cool. Unfortunately, they didn't give it any extras, like new stuff, like they did for the Arctic Bat with the new head print, or the new head sculpt, and the chainsaw arm. They didn't do that for the Python Bat, unfortunately, or the Crimson Bat for that matter. It would have been nice to have gotten an alternate head for the Python and the Crimson Bat, so you'd have like 4 bats lined up, all with their own unique head sculpt. That would have been pretty cool. But they didn't get that, unfortunately. The Arctic Bat is actually the most recent one they've released, so I'm hoping that the whole thing with the alternate head is a new trend that they're going to start doing. I think they've like name dropped an Iron Grenadier Bat for the future. We haven't seen anything about that yet, but I think I seem to recall them mentioning that in a interview or live stream at some point, maybe with that YouTube guy Chris, the Full Force podcast, I think it's called. I think that he did an interview with them where they mentioned the Iron Grenadier Bat or something like that. Hopefully the Iron Grenadier Bat will come with an alternate head that it's different from this, as well as the one that came with the Arctic Bat. But that won't have any effect on this, and his belt is caught on his pants there. Trying to get it so it goes over the pants. Come on. There we go. That's better. All right. So going over articulation. He looks like he just had a dumbbell up at the top. No hinge. I like it when they have a hinge there. I've mentioned before. It gives you more range of motion on the head. You can look up further. You can look down further. But he does have a fairly movable neck, so he can look down about that far. You can look up about that far. He can do the exorcists. And unlike your human characters, him doing the exorcist isn't going to kill him. That's one thing I didn't understand in the Exorcist film, is I can understand demon possessing her, turning her head around won't kill her while the demon's there, but wouldn't it still like break her neck? Or is the demon like somehow preventing the demonic possession and somehow preventing her neck from breaking when it turns her head like that too? I don't know. But anyway, so he does have some tilt. He can get into that T-pose pretty easily. His arms go all the way around. He does have the butterfly joints there. Both sides. Got the upper bicep cut. Got the double jointed. There we go. Double jointed pinless arms. Pinless elbows. Has the horizontal wrist on both hands. And of course, hands go all the way around. He's got the ab crunch. Can go this, like go forward like that, go back like that, and he can twist with some ratcheting. No, I've seen posts from people who said we should get like female versions of the bats like we do with other troopers. And I was just wondering if that would be interesting to some of you. Like, what would a female bat look like? Would she just look like this, except skinnier and with like metal boobs or something? I don't know. It seems kind of weird, but I have heard it mentioned, so I thought I'd bring it up. What do you guys think? Do we need female bats in this line? Do you want to see female bats, or is of the idea of like a fembot? That's basically what they be. The idea of that little 2 Austin Powers for G.I.Joe to you. But he can do the Van Damme pretty well. Not as well as most, but I think this has something to do with that, the holster. It's also hindering his leg here. Yeah, get up there. Yeah. Let's try on this one instead. I can kick out about that far. And kick back about that far. And that peg's getting white. I better stop messing with it. His leg has a thigh cut. Double jointed pinless knees. I should have warmed this guy up before I started this. He's been upstairs with no heat for too long. Gotten cold during the winter. Boot cut. His foot goes back about that far. Goes forward that far. Got rocker and peg holes on the bottom. For accessories, he comes with this Python Patrol chest plate. The nice Python Patrol logo there. The red and black crisscross patterns. And that just snaps onto the chest piece here. Pretty easily. He also comes with this pistol, which is similar to the one that the original one had. It's got the peg hole in the front for blast effects. It's got that yellow paint on the back there, but the rest of it's just all black plastic. And you can slide that into his holster on his left thigh, like that. He comes with this backpack, which is the same as the other one. These are painted red. I don't think they were painted at all with the previous one. Or if they were, I don't think it was red. But it's got peg holes in the bottom there, as well as in the inside the backpack, so you can attach his claw accessory. Attaches to his hand. Both of his hands do pop off fairly easily. And you can attach these accessories to give them different looks. And when you're not using these, you can pock them in the backpack. I usually put this one there. I usually stick this one and the flamethrower inside the backpack because they're easier to grip to pull them out. The laser is a little bit harder because it's smaller. And speaking of the laser, when I was a kid, I used to think this was a drill because it's kind of drill shaped. But of course, in the cartoon, he fires lasers out of it. Actually, I don't even think they use it. That hand attachment's too much in the cartoon. The bats were usually just grabby and punchy. But yeah, if you stick this in here, because the peg holes are really tight, so if you stick it in here, then you have to kind of grip it by this, and it's kind of smooth, so your fingers slide off of it fairly easily, which is why I stick this one in. I stick the laser in this side, because it's easier to grip it to pull it out. And then lastly, he has the flamethrower attachment. Unfortunately, we didn't get any flame effects with it. Now, the torch that they've recently put up on pre-order, as well as the blowtorch that they've recently name-dropped for a future release, will likely come with flame effects. But since this came out very early in the line, it's questionable whether or not the flame effects that we get with torch and blowtorch are actually going to fit into this. That peg is kind of narrow. I don't know if it's the same size as the guns. I think it might be. But I don't know what size the flame effects will be that come with torch. Will they have the same peg system as the blast effects? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But that one can peg into here as well. And when you take the hands off to put the attachments on, you can stick the hands in the backpack as well. So he can carry everything on him at all times. That's about the only thing, the only benefit this one has over the original. The original can't carry everything he has with him because he has 2 chest plates and 2 heads. So you can't carry those around with him. But aside from the color changes, and I think the reason they gave us fewer accessories, even though this is basically a repaint, I think the reason they gave us fewer accessories with this one, whereas they usually give you more, or at least the same with a repaint, is because of how much paint is on this one compared to the original. I think that had a lot to do with it. There's a lot more going on here than there was with the OG bat. So that's why they threw in an extra head and battle damage chest plate for us with that one. This one still looks pretty cool. I know some people don't like the Python Patrol in general or repaints, but I think the bats lend themselves to repaint a bit better than most. Like if you want to look at a repaint that I feel personally wasn't that necessary, I would look at the eel and the snow serpent. I would have preferred to have gotten a re-release of the original ones for people who missed out on them the first time around, instead of a retro re-release that comes with much less stuff and really isn't that different aesthetically. If they had given the snow serpent and the eels the classic loadouts instead of just packaging them with the same gear, essentially. Although the snow serpents did come with a different rifle. But the eels basically came with the exact same stuff that the original release came with. So that was a missed opportunity for Hasbro. And I'm fairly certain I've covered this before in a previous video, so I'm not going to go into it too much. There's the Python Patrol Bat. Next Sunday, we'll be taking a look at the Python Patrol Viper. And then, after that, moving right along. Actually, I think after that, we're going to be taking a break from the whole Python Patrol Tiger Force deal. Yeah, next Sunday is the Cobra Viper. And then after that, we'll be looking at Dr. Mindbender, San Diego Comic-Con exclusive for 2022. So that'll be a fun one because he's got a lot of interesting stuff with him. So comment down below, like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.